Okay, everybody, we're going to call this regular City Council meeting Monday, March 9th, 2015 to order. Do a roll call vote. Alderman Putoff. Here. Ferrari. Here. Waldorf. Here. Lukosius. Perez. Here. Radke. Here. Mueller. Here. Sapienza. Mayor Harrell. Stand for the pledge, please. I'd like a motion to appoint a temporary chairperson.
So moved.
I would like to nominate Alderman Putoff, please.
Motion made by Alderman Waldorf, seconded by Alderman Ferrari to nominate Alderman Waldorf, temporary chairperson. All in favor?
Aye.
Alderman
Aye.
Putoff. Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. First item is presentation tonight from the Friends of Peru Pool.
Well, this past weekend we had a shopping event where people brought in receipts, and we gave a portion back to the Friends for Peru Pool, and we have a check for $517.36 to help the cause.
Chris, would you introduce yourself as the new Hy-Vee manager? Chris is replacing Doug Overly, and just give us a short 2 minutes of where you came from and what you're doing.
Okay, well, I'm Chris Higginbotham. I grew up in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is basically a suburb of Omaha, Nebraska. I'm married. My wife's a school teacher currently for another 3 months until she moves out here. I have a 24-year-old daughter, Jordan. Son, Ryan, is a senior in high school. He'll be graduating this year. And Sam's in 6th grade. He's 11. And I've been with Hy-Vee for 26 years. I've been in the business for 35 years, and mostly around the Omaha area. And the Peru location came open, and it's always been a very well-known location in Hy-Vee land and a good store. So we thought we'd make a change and come out here and try to fill Doug's shoes.
Well, we would like to welcome you, and certainly we appreciate you coming into the community, and also to let you know that these weekly fundraisers for Hy-Vee is doing, they help a lot.
Well, you know what, Hy-Vee is a community-based company. You know, without the community shopping, we don't have business, so it's just a natural to give back. So it's
I did say weekly, right?
Yeah, pretty much daily.
Thanks, Chris.
Hy-Vee is a great part of our city. We appreciate you.
And we will continue that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Pool Committee. We appreciate your work.
You know, Chris, just out of curiosity, what do you mean by a well-known store in the chain?
Well,
Is it in the upper part of sales, or what?
It's in the upper part of sales, and I mean, obviously, as a business, it's a very healthy store from profit size and sales wise. But I think the biggest thing is this last year it won the friendliest store in Hy-Vee through some market surveys that we do. We have mystery shoppers go to the store and score us, and which is a reflection of all of our employees, which I found quickly, and I mean, I would say this probably anyway, but I really mean it, is, I mean, the community's been so nice to me, so it's not a real shock that our store is friendly, because it's our community people that work there. So that, to me, was one of the biggest draws coming here, is I knew it would be a good store with good people. How many stores is Hy-Vee? 240. So if you take Iowa and pretty much go every state around it, that's kind of where we're growing out.
I think there's a big one opening
in Bloomington tomorrow morning. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment tonight? Any comment cards?
Nothing.
All right, we're moving to minutes. Motion for the special meeting minutes of February 18th.
So moved, we'll accept
Motion.
and place them on file.
Motion by Alderman Ferrari with a second by Alderman Waldorf. Minutes of the regular meeting of February 23rd.
Same thing.
Motion by Alderman Ferrari, second by Alderman Waldorf. Moving to committee reports. All in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports, Alderman Radke.
Yes, Your Honor, the first item we have tonight is disbursements. Total disbursements for March 11th, 2015 are $1,173,163.87. I move that we receive that report, place it on file, and pay the bills in the usual manner.
I'll second that.
Motion by Alderman Radke with a second by Alderman Perez. Any comments or questions on the bills? We have a roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf. Perez.
Aye.
Radke. Mueller. Sapienza.
A motion tonight to approve the motor fuel tax audit report number 74 for the period beginning January 1st, 2013 and ending December 31st of 2014. Committee?
Yes, I have the review in front of me, and the only thing that was really noted was an overpayment that was made to Chamlin Engineering in the amount of $386.64, and I believe that was going to be reimbursed. And that's the only thing that I have as far as notes go on this. So I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
Motion by Alderman Perez with a second by Alderman Ferrari. We'll move ahead to the public service.
we'll get-
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I got one more thing, Your Honor, it just came, I want to turn it over to Chief Burnaby.
Thank you, Alderman. I just wanted to announce I sent out an email to you folks today, and it was on our police department Facebook page, but a veteran of our police department, Detective Dennis Putoff, who has 30 years of service with the city of Peru, announced his retirement. He's leaving the police department and entering the retirement stage of his life on June 1st of this year. Dennis has been an outstanding member of the police department for certainly many years, in the years that I've been with the city. Consider him one of the true finest in Peru. He's a good friend. We really are going to miss him and his, as I said on Facebook, his common sense approach. He's the last of the old guys. He started in the 1940s.
Thanks.
He started 30 years ago. We have several of our officers were not even born when Dennis first took the oath of office here in the city of Peru, so that tells you his longevity. So he'll be with us till June 1st, and then he'll be off into the wonderful world of retirement. So wanted you folks to all hear that.
Thank you.
A couple other points in finance that we met last week. One of the things that the council will be working on is the budget and that whole, Justin, you want to update us on the timetable for the budget?
Yeah, I'm really hoping to have everything off to you guys.
Can you use the microphone, please, Justin?
I was just saying, I've really been shooting for having filed like a rough draft by next Council Finance, which would be a week from Wednesday, and then bringing it to the council level 2 weeks after that meeting, and hopefully we'll have everything aligned with department heads and we'll have an efficient process.
I think the one thing we pointed out at the Finance Committee that there is the prospect that the city possibly losing $500,000 in state funding. And certainly that's going to have to be looked at from a budget standpoint, because our goal at the end of the day is to have a balanced budget and continue that massive infrastructure program that we have going on. So there will be some decisions that we'll have to make from that avenue. We also began collective bargaining negotiations. That is with the IBEW. We're continuing to update the council and be involved with that. Discuss the cost of electronic recycling, and we're again come up with the decision in the later weeks as to what the city's going to do. There has been a lot in the media about the closing of the Office Depot Center. which has a dramatic effect on employment and certainly from the sales tax of the city of Peru. Office Depot, Office Max, was Office Max, bought out by Office Depot, and now Staples has bought that out. The merger plan looks like the headquarters will be moving to the East Coast. I know the state of Illinois and our local mayors have been involved in that process, trying to convince them that Illinois is a good place to do business, and hopefully the one positive point about that is we do have a building that is situated ready for a call center. We have, again, employees who are trained for that, and at least the opportunity that something will be able to generate when this does leave. This merger was about $6.3 billion, a very big merger, and it really resulted as trying to be competitive with the Amazons and the Walmarts, and Staples looked at buying out this piece or this piece of business so they could be competitive with that. So that again is unfortunate, and again the city would do anything we can to either try to locate a business or to persuade people to stay here. Anything else?
Well, on that point, the mayors and local reps and everybody had meetings in Naperville, you know, when this all began. But interesting, just hearing an interview on CNBC, you're going to see a lot of closings of the retail too, because it's more profitable to have one store with $8 million in sales, this was the example given, than two stores in the same community each with 6, or a total of $12 million sales. But you know, that's the nature of the business. And since the Amazons of the world have come on, that's how they're able to do the merger, because they don't have the antitrust implications they did before. So, because when you do those large mega mergers, you need Justice Department approval under antitrust laws. Well, they say, you know, we're not just competing against each other. We're competing against Amazon, Walmart, Walgreens, everything in office supplies. Because 10 years ago, you have never seen that.
Yeah, actually, in 1998. The Federal Trade Commission wouldn't allow a merger.
That's correct.
And because of the recent Amazons and Walmarts, they certainly looked at it as a different entity. So, again, that's unfortunate for our call center because it is some valuable jobs and sales tax to the city of Peru. Okay, move ahead to Public Services. Chairman Waldorf.
Yes, thank you. I have the City of Peru Water and Wastewater Treatment Plant report as of January 2015. This report shows at our water treatment plant we treated 80.3 million gallons of water, and at our wastewater plants, the east side, we treated 74.4 million gallons. At the west plant, we treated 31.8 million gallons. I would like to make a motion to receive this report and place it on file, please.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
A motion by Alderman Waldorf, a second by Alderman Perez. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item, motion to execute engineering agreements.
I will make a motion to execute engineering agreements with Chamlin and Associates for the Area 1 Phase 3 Sewer Separation Project.
I'll second that.
A motion to execute engineering agreements with Chamlin Associates made by Alderman Waldorf with a second by Alderman Mueller. Any discussions?
Eric, you want to enlighten us a little bit on that?
Yeah, this is the next phase of our mandated sewer separation program. It'll be heading north of Brock Street from Center Street and crossing US Route 6, and is planned to go about a block north of US Route 6 on Rock, and then also completing the remaining portion of Bluff Street south of Route 6.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Going to take extra scrutiny if Lambrecht is the low bidder.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Next, Your Honor, I'd like to have a discussion and approval for use of the city property on Water Street at the old electric department location by the rec board during the 2015 Independence Day celebration. What this concerns is, they want it to be a little bigger, and they always did it at Maze on the gravel. And they had two bouncy houses, and they want to have a third one, and they just need a little bit more room, and this won't be on the gravel, and it will be on the grass. So that was a request made by Ray Zabrowski and the rec board. So if nobody has any objections, I'll make that the request for approval.
I'll second that. And that's the family area, correct?
Yes, that is the family
They're
area.
planning to move that.
East of Brandy's is
Yeah.
the no alcohol
Right.
area, so.
I think that's great.
Motion by Waldorf with a second by Mueller. Any other comments, discussions, thoughts? We'll go into a roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari. Aye. Waldorf.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Report of the city attorney.
Yes, there was a hearing before the city council meeting on the petition of CHS for the Illinois River Terminal, so everyone's pretty familiar with that. But there was also a hearing last Wednesday evening, joint hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Plan Commission. Zoning Board of Appeals members Atkinson, Wujek, Gans, and Mullen were present, and Biederstadt, Brining, and Miller were absent. Plan Commission members Atkinson, Grabowski, Mays, Basali, Ballard, and Mullen were present, and members Biederstadt, Lucas, Miller, and Spellich were absent. Jake Hamlin of CHS, he's the State and Local Government Affairs representative, presented testimony. So that CHS is the nation's leading cooperative and is owned by 600,000 farmers through 1,100 membership cooperatives. And CHS has retail locations throughout the world, really. It's a global energy, grains, and food business with customers in 65 countries. The project locally is a partnership between CHS and Northern Partners Cooperative. Northern Partners was formed in 2009 through the merger of 4 area cooperatives and is a farmer-owned grain, agronomy, and energy cooperative based out of Mendota. It has 70 employees serving 900 customers from 8 locations in the local 4-county area. Mr. Hamlin introduced the site layout plan and evidence. The grain barge loading facility will handle corn and soybeans for export through their terminal in Myrtle Grove, Louisiana. Facility will have 47,000-ton capacity fertilizer warehouse with product blending capabilities operated by Northern Partners. The dry fertilizer warehousing will hold 27,000 ton, and the liquid fertilizer will be able to hold 20,000 ton. They'll serve area farmers with retail business selling nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium fertilizers and facilitate grain handling. Mr. Hamlin stated the project is a $31 million investment, which has been in the process for a couple of years. All state and local permitting is expected to be completed this month, and from the earlier testimony, I believe the only permit outstanding is that from the Army Corps of Engineers on the mooring facility. In response to questioning, he stated liquid fertilizers would be nitrogen, prill, and anhydrous ammonia. There would be outside storage. There would not be any outside storage of fertilizers. CHS has other similar operations throughout the country. CHS itself is the result of a merger in 1998 of Cenex and Harvest States. In response to question from member May, CHS leases its barge fleet, and the only time there'd be 24-hour operation would probably be during the harvest season. Mayor Eric Carls testified he has no objection to petition and recommends annexation the M2 manufacturing district zoning classification with requested special use and the requested waivers subject to the CHS entering into a development agreement. Project would be served by an 8-inch water main, which would be much larger than needed, but the city has received a grant for the water main, and CHS has agreed to pay the $60,000 local share of that grant. Member Grabowski stated he was pleased the water main would be an 8-inch and extended, which would better serve the area and provide greater fire protection. An email from Superintendent of Public Schools Mark Cross was introduced into evidence, stating that it's great for the city to have a substantial development to increase the real estate tax base of the city. And then was gone over the development agreement. Zoning Board of Appeals member Mullen moved and Wujek seconded. Petition be favorably recommended, passed unanimously. Plan Commission member Basali moved, Mullen second, that the annexation be favorably recommended, passed unanimously. Basali and Mullen on the zoning, passed unanimously. Basali and Ballard on the special use for the loading, hauling, and storage of grains, fertilizer, and agricultural products, passed unanimously.
Okay. We have a motion. Receive the minutes, place them on file.
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
Motion by Alderman Waldorf with a second by Alderman Perez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussions? I just wanted to point out it is a $31 million facility, and it does have, it will be hiring at least 8 new employees to that facility.
Yeah, I'd also state that, people may not realize, but I know the mayor and corporate council, I think Alderman Lukosius has been working on this agreement for probably 3, maybe 4 years. So hopefully, thank them for their persistence. I think it still shows that Peru is a city that people want to invest in. I'm happy to see that the development agreement puts the cost of the infrastructure on the developer, other than the cost of the electric. Yeah, for a $31 million investment, it should help stabilize the tax rate.
Thank you.
The first ordinance would annex the 20.81 acre parcel to the city.
Motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Move. Motion by Alderman Perez, second by Alderman Radke. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
Then the next ordinance would amend the zoning ordinance, provide for an M-2 manufacturing district zoning classification for the property.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Perez with a second by Alderman Ferrari. Any discussion? We'd like a roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf. Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
The next ordinance would grant a special use for the property for the loading, hauling, and storage of grains, fertilizers, and agricultural products.
I'll make a motion, we accept the ordinance as written and read.
Motion by Alderman Ferrari with a second by Alderman Sapienza. Any discussion? We have a roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
The next ordinance grants certain waivers from the subdivision ordinance and approves the site plan for the property. There is no new city infrastructure, roads or that, as a result of this development. It's all by private roadway off US Route 6, so there's no necessity to have the normal preliminary and any subdivision platting. And their site plan is presented. It ways sidewalks, except of course along US Route 6. There'll be a sidewalk plan. The rest of the topography would not be conducive to sidewalks, nor is it public access.
We have an ordinance on the dockets. Motion by Alderman Sapienza, second by Alderman Mueller. Any discussion? Like a roll call vote?
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari. Waldorf. Perez. Radke. Mueller. Sapienza.
The next ordinance authorizes execution of the development agreement. All of the terms we had gone through during the public hearing, and all of you have had a copy of it.
Doug, you want to just give those random for people who weren't here?
Sure. The roadway access to the site is off US Route 6 pursuant to permits that have been granted by the Illinois Department of Transportation that has jurisdiction on that. So there wouldn't be any new public roadways as a result of this development. For a temporary period of time, there would be construction access from US Route 6 down Church Street across Market Street to serve the site. As was testified at the hearing, those roadways will be videoed, so we know the condition of the roadways both before and then after construction of the site. And under this agreement, CHS agrees to repair any damage caused by that. It should not be for any extended time because they will access their site by their own roadway as soon as it's built, and then all future access to the site will be by its own roadway. There's no outside storage of materials. There's no mining on the property, no wells on the property. They'll clean any products or debris. City has right to inspect the property at any time. The sidewalks will be just as shown along Route 6. It's provided with city electric utilities. The sanitary sewer will either be a private lift station and then a force main to connect to the existing city sanitary sewer on Market Street, or any other means or methods of disposal is approved by the city engineer and the IEPA. But the only waste that you're talking about is human, essentially. Is that correct, Eric? Because they may have a blending operation, but I don't see anything that would be other than that. The water main extension, they'd only need a 2-inch for their own purposes, but pursuant to the grant the city's received, there'll be an 8-inch main extended, and the city's portion of that grant is $60,000, which CHS will pay. Additionally, all the plans and everything be subject to review by the city engineer, including the site improvement, site lighting, landscape, security plans, building plans, stormwater calculations, the decibel levels at boundaries, and the spill prevention, control and countermeasure plan, emergency response plan, and they provide all the required permits to the city. CHS pays an impact fee to the city of $102,422.78, which would be reduced to the extent it pays the local share on the grant to the city. The CHS would also pay an estimated building permit fee. That hasn't been fully calculated yet, but it should be somewhere around the range of $60,000. CHS is also reimbursing the city for all costs incurred by the city for legal, engineering, and publication and related costs and expenses.
I also had a quote from Eric Anderson, the general manager of Northern Partners Cooperative. We look forward to working with Mayor Scott Harrell and the City of Peru to bring jobs and economic development to benefit the Illinois Valley. And we appreciate their many efforts to help us establish this new venture. So again, we're very pleased about this locating in Peru. And again, the access to our waterways is a very valuable asset. We have an ordinance on the floor. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Alderman Waldorf with a second by Alderman Perez. Any discussion? We have a roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Any other ordinances?
No, sir.
Move to unfinished business. Council, is there any unfinished business we need to discuss tonight? Move ahead to new business.
Your Honor, I would like to make a motion to hire the selected public services technician candidate, please.
Motion by Alderman Waldorf, a second by Alderman Sapienza. Is there any discussion? Point?
Eric, would you talk to us a little bit about that?
As you know, we've been doing ongoing research regarding our in-house engineering department and how best to save the city money. The next step in that department is hiring a technician. This technician will be tasked with some of our construction inspection work around town. He'll also be tasked with some of our GIS work, as well as assisting me in putting engineering plans together for bid. We had quite a few candidates, very well qualified, brought a few in for interviews. The selected candidate met all of the minimum requirements and exceeded them, was very well in the interview, so we're really excited to have him on board.
We did. Any other discussion?
He is local, and Alderman Waldorf, Alderman Lukosius had left a letter for us. I asked if you wouldn't mind.
We will read that.
I will. As Eric said, this is from Alderman Lukosius. Dear Mayor and fellow council members, I am writing this letter to inform you of the process and recommendation to hire the public services technician. As many of you know, it has been an ongoing process on how to best serve the city of Peru, all while providing an ultimate savings. A few months ago, our city engineer completed research on the next step in growing our in-house engineering department in order to become more efficient and provide the city with additional savings. The city's advertisement for the position brought in many very qualified individuals. Each of the resumes were reviewed and selected candidates were interviewed. The Human Resources Director, the City Engineer, and I, Alderman Lukosius, finished the interview process and are recommending a very qualified candidate for hire. The candidate met or exceeded all of the desired qualifications presented in the job description, and I'm excited for this individual to join our staff. At this time, it has been asked that we keep this individual's name confidential and afford them the opportunity to first notify their employer. And finally, I would like to recommend the hire of the selected candidate. So this is a recommendation by the Public Services Committee, and I think we have an excellent candidate.
Alderman Rankin.
I'd like to say that I think the position will pay for itself with a reduction in contracted services. I think we had about, on average, $200,000 or $250,000 worth of engineering technician type work that we've contracted out on average for the last 3 years, I think you looked. So the fully loaded cost of this position, I think, is somewhere in the $75,000 or $80,000 a year range. So as long as they perform about half of the amount of contracted work, then it essentially is a wash and pays for itself. The one rumor that I kind of want to put to bed, because I hear out in the street that the city has more staff than ever, because we've hired a few people, and I just want to, that's just not factually correct. So I had HR put together a couple numbers. In 2009, the city had 82 full-time employees, and currently we have 72 full-time employees. This hire will make 73. So I think it's commendable that over the last several years, the city's cut more than 10% of its workforce. I'm also, I think we should all be proud of the hires that we've made in the last year or so. If you go down the list, we've hired a professional licensed city engineer, bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Illinois, and I don't know if there's any certifications with the IDOT that you don't have. I think you have just about everything. We've hired a finance officer with licensed certified public accountant in the state of Illinois, bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Illinois. We are also hiring an engineering tech.
Way to plug your alma mater.
Which I believe, we've hired an engineering technician tonight. Assuming this passes, we'll hire an engineering technician tonight who I believe has an associate's degree. He did not have that, but people may not realize, but we've hired a public services administrative assistant. That person, that was a replacement for an employee who left the city. That person has a bachelor's degree in marketing from Loyola. We've also hired a bookkeeper to replace a retirement. That person has a bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Illinois. And of course, these are in addition to the already very well qualified police chief and fire chief, that we have. So I hope that demonstrates to the residents of the city that we have very high standards for the people that we're hiring, to run their city. So.
Any other discussion points?
Yes, Your Honor. I just wanted to say, with all the cuts that the state of Illinois is making, I'm kind of reserved at this time. I wouldn't mind looking at it next year, but I don't see any kind of savings in this first year. Of course, there's going to be learning curves and all of that, and I think there'll be more of just an increase in payroll for that first year. Like I said, with everything that Illinois is doing right now with the new governor, I'd rather sit tight. So.
Thank you. Just my vote will be based on the savings that was portrayed to me at the last city council meeting, and I believe that's immediate savings right away. The technician will be working to create some savings in this summer's project. So as immediately as he's hired, we're going to be able to pay for it. So that's one reason I support it.
That's correct. And as you know, as part of the job description, we were hoping to get a candidate with certain IDOT certifications and somebody that could hit the ground running with experience. This person does meet those qualifications, so he'll be ready to get on a project right away in the spring.
Any other? We have a motion by Alderman Waldorf with a second by Alderman Sapienza. We'll have a council roll call vote.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Aye.
The motion passed 6-1. And any other new business?
Mark, I
Council?
just wanted to add thank you for the introduction, but I actually went to Illinois State, so I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. That was very important to point that out, that some low-cost state universities do have some operation. Okay. Any proclamations tonight?
No, Your Honor.
Petitions, communications.
Yes, Your Honor, we have a communication from DLP Kiwanis requesting permission to hold the annual Easter egg hunt at Baker Lake, March 29th, with a rain date of April 4th.
Council?
I'll move that we give them permission.
I'll second that.
Permission.
If there's nothing conflicting.
Permission for the Easter egg hunt by Alderman Waldorf, second by Alderman Mueller. Any discussion? Any opposition? Yay?
All in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next communication is from the Better Fishing Association Kids Fishing requesting permission to hold the annual Baker Lake Kids Fishing Exposition on May 16th from 9 to 2. The I&M Canal Lot 14 in LaSalle on June 6th.
Thoughts?
I'll make a motion that we accept the communication and grant permission.
Motion by Alderman Mueller, second by Alderman Sapienza. Aye or nay?
Aye.
Aye.
Communication from True Veterans Memorial requesting permission to hold the short Memorial Day service Monday, May 25th at 11 a.m. at Washington Park.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Perez with a second by Alderman Mueller. Any thoughts, comments? Aye or nay?
Aye.
Aye is moved ahead. Any other?
No further communications, Your Honor.
Tonight, open up for public comment. Any public comment? Any desires for a closed session tonight? None noted. adjournment. Any motion for that?
I will make one.
Second.
Alderman Ferrari, second by Alderman Waldorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. At 8:10, I might say that's a pretty good job there.